Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Thomas van der Zander, Cannabear, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Mr. Amish, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Barely, Twod Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMails24, Unamento, Iron26, Endless, Goldie McKinnon, Retro Bill, Level Playing Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W., Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord. That's the Politics 24/7 of Flat Earth Discord today, and Google, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
There's no.
Sure, I'll be quiet for a while and let the Flat Earth conversation commence.
You can back it up. Yeah, because we're looking for globe evidence, so you can make a claim, you can back it up, you can start getting this going.
Well, go ahead, Flat Lloyd. The stage is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I already said my bit. Earth measures flat. I mean, what
You
else?
said that we should change
do
the
you need?
conversation to Flat Earth and then stopped.
No, I'm just moderating, right? I mean, I'm supposed to get things back on track. I hope you can
Well, you
understand.
killed the conversation instead.
Well, no, that was what I was trying to do, right? Stop that
cool.
one. So sweet, did it.
Excellent.
Well, technically, water measures flat. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's up with sea level anyway? Why do they call it that?
What's up with specular reflection?
Wait,
Yeah. Why do we see one on the
sea
moon?
level because it's the mean sea level when you look at all the seas.
Yeah, and
But
they're
you gotta
level
be
with
on
each
the
other.
level.
So no part's higher than the other
I gotta level with
from each other.
Well, it's the mean. So if you're a kilometer above sea level, you'd be a kilometer above sea level. If you're at sea level, you'd be at 0.
Why don't they call it sea elevation then?
Ask
Maybe we should ask
Webster.
them.
They call that a tide.
A couple days ago, that sunset's proof around Earth.
And is that so, or I mean, how silly is that?
Well, I know the moon's around
How do you know that?
because I've looked at it through a telescope.
Sure, I mean, it looks like a circle in the sky, but how do you know it's a sphere?
Because if you have a telescope that's powerful enough, you can see
Oh,
it.
does the telescope like whisper to you? It's like, hey, I'm a sphere.
No, it has a thing called focus. So as you get to the middle of the moon, it
Oh, is it a
actually gets out of
stereoscopic
focus. So you have
telescope,
to
or is it
actually
one lens?
adjust the focus. and then you have to adjust the focus to the edges again.
So because it's a clear image? Now that doesn't really tell you the shape of it, right? I mean, don't get me
Well,
wrong, you'd have to go there and verify it. You'd be like, oh, look at that. It's a sphere.
Yeah,
Or would
no,
you look
I'll
at that?
trust my 130-inch telescope.
And it whispering to you soft nothings of spherical balls hovering above you.
Look, I'm not challenging your notion of the Earth flat. I'm just saying, from what I can fucking see, the moon is a sphere, dude.
Okay. What about that tells you that then the Earth is spherical?
Did I say that the Earth is spherical? I just
Well,
said
is
to
that
you the
what
moon's
you're
round, and you
assuming?
started challenging me on the Earth.
Well, I'm just wondering how you even know the moon is round. I mean,
Well,
without
as
being
I
able to
just said,
verify it, I see
through a
the same
thing
thing
called
as
the
you.
telescope at
Bright
my
circle in the
eye.
sky.
You
Yeah,
know,
but
like
just
I
because
can
we see
see it.
something
Like, I'm
closer
not
doesn't mean
blind.
we suddenly know the shape of it.
Are you a troll?
No. Like I said, I help moderate this chat.
Like I said, are you a troll?
No. Again. I meant it
well,
when I
Van
said
Man,
the Earth measures flat.
instead
Come
of
on,
speaking
AJ.
in circles and asking questions about the moon when you have no position on the Earth, etc., and then trying to diminish our moderators in here, how about you just present some evidence for the globe or the flat Earth, whichever way you're going to stand. Stick to the point.
So you want to
Wait,
steer me and corral me back towards the Earth when I just made one simple...
No, I'm corralling you from trying to adjudicate what happens in this room, speaking over moderators, and being quite rude to our moderators. So you'll have one more chance to speak. And if you want to speak about anything different, you're going to stay on mute. Very simple. Goodbye. Good evening, Nathan.
How you doing? Good to be here.
Good.
Good to have you.
wait, do you guys genuinely believe in flat Earth, or is this like a bit?
Who is that?
Chungus. Chungus.
Can't speak for everyone,
Chungus.
but no, me, I don't believe Earth is flat. It's measured flat. It's not up for debate.
Wait, what do you mean? You don't? If you like measure a line and it comes out to be 3 centimeters, you'd say you believe it's 3 centimeters because of the evidence, right?
Hope that answers your question.
Sorry, my internet might have cut out, or maybe yours cut out. I'm not sure, but I didn't really hear you.
You didn't hear anything, Nathan?
It's because I didn't say anything.
You said, does that answer your question? So I thought you were maybe like saying something before.
Your question was, do you guys in here believe Earth's flat? And I said, I can't speak for everyone, but I know it's flat. That's how it's measured. Then you asked me, if you measure 3 centimeters, it's 3 centimeters. I completely ignored that. That's why there was a long silence.
Well, I don't think you used the word no. If you did, like, knowledge implies belief. But I mean, like, if you would have used that, I would have just taken you to answer yes, I believe the Earth is flat.
I don't. I know it is because it's measured flat. Third time.
But those are not mutually exclusive. You can believe something and know at the same time.
I
In
don't
fact,
believe
you have.
why he seems fixated on this belief thing when I've told him now this will be the 4th time. I don't believe that. I know it because it's measured flat. Your first response. So if I measure 3 centimeters, it's 3 centimeters. Meaningless drivel, not a rebuttal, not an acknowledgement, doesn't mean anything. Right? But we're still at that same stage. I've told you why I know it's flat. You're now focused on what belief is. Who cares? I don't care what belief is. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. He seems to be like really fixated on it, but okay.
You've done it 4 times. That not fixated?
A little bit.
So we're clear.
So,
It's-
like,
it's
what
measured
measurements are you referring to?
Specifically, elevation angle measurement.
Yeah, what about it?
I don't know what happened then. A few people started laughing. I assume there's a few white knights ready to jump in on this conversation when it gets painful, Chungus.
AK2, I think you're hot micing, mate. No, you're laughing. It's all good.
Do you want to just pop that guy on
If you
mute,
can
the
just
guy
keep
that's
your
going
laughing
to
to
ruin this
yourself, that'd be
conversation?
great.
Shoot.
Do you want to just...
It's just like really hard
Hold
for
on,
me
Chungus. Just one
to
sec. Just one
understand.
sec. Sorry, Chungus. There's another person in the conversation between you and I that's decided to ruin the audio because his mic's wide open and he's not taken the subtle hint from the moderator and now me to
I
close his
think
bleeding
it
mic.
was isn't AJ a moderator?
It's done.
I think you might have just been like away from his computer or whatever. I don't know. It's just hard for me to. I just want to understand why you come to believe that, because it
5
seems
times.
like you
That's
have
5 times. 5 times you've done it.
Not a belief.
Elevation angle, I said. Then we got a load of laughter that got sorted out. Now you're
Wait.
back on belief. Fixated on it. Yeah, you've done it 5 times.
What? What have I done 5 times?
Focus on a belief I've said I've not got. We're not discussing beliefs. I've told you that.
No, like
5
belief is a necessary
times, and now you're
condition for
interrupting me,
knowledge.
pointing out that on 5, no less than 5 occasions,
You interrupt. I'm
I've told you it's not a
interrupting your
belief.
interruption.
You're now
okay?
yammering through the
Pipe
top of
down,
me,
boy.
stopping you from rinsing and repeating this for a 6th time. I'm going to try it one more
Yeah,
time.
because-
Then you're just chanting through me. I'm talking. I'm going to tell you again. This
You
is going to be the
interrupted
6th.
me.
Don't chant through me. I don't believe Earth is flat. I know it is because of measurement. I've told you what measurement so far. It's elevation angle measurement. Okay, that's where we're at. Don't want to hear about belief for a 7th time.
Why did you mute me whilst talking over me?
Because you are talking through me, pointing out that I don't need a 6th rendition of you asking about beliefs. That's why one of the moderators shut you up, because I'm telling you for the 7th time now not to mention beliefs, because this isn't a belief-based discussion. It's a measurement-based discussion.
Yeah, that's not mutually exclusive with belief. don't know why
Measurement
you're
and
so
belief have got
fixated
nothing to
on it.
do with one another.
No, they do, because if you have, like, the measurement is going to be evidence for a certain belief.
No, we're measuring something.
Sorry?
Measurements aren't beliefs. If I measure something, I've measured it.
Yeah, I didn't say measurement are beliefs. I'm saying that measurements are going to be evidence for beliefs.
Perhaps, but in this instance, not for me. I'm not basing a
What do
measurement
you mean?
on a belief. That's probably why you're getting muted, because I'm talking. You've started talking while I'm talking. Yeah, okay. For me, it's not going to be a foundation for a belief. I'm just going to take the measurement at face value.
I have no idea what that means. So
It means I'm not going to base a belief on the measurement.
Why are you talking over me?
Because you've said I don't understand, so I'm going to re-clarify. If you don't understand, I can explain it again. You don't understand. I heard. You don't understand. Okay, Mr. I can't comprehend what you've just said. I'll repeat it. You moaning about the fact you can't comprehend what I've just said. Oh, you're going to talk through it. Yeah, you said you didn't understand. I'm not going to base any belief on a foundation of a flat Earth measurement. I'm just going to take the flat Earth measurement. Again, 8 times. It's not going to turn into a discussion about belief unless we take that flat Earth measurement and turn it into a globe belief. That's what globe believers do. They use the measurements of Earth and turn them into their beliefs. I'm not doing that.
Right, you're just rambling. None of what you said makes any sense.
Well, I have a question for you before you
this guy's
move
a
on,
dick.
Chungus,
This guy's a
because,
dick. What the hell?
I just want to ask you, Chungus, if you were to tell me, for example, now I don't know where you live, but you were to tell me that you lived in the United States. Now, I could believe you and believe that you're telling the truth and believe that you live in the United States. That would be a belief. But If I was to get on a plane and fly to the United States and knock on your door, I would now know that you live in the United States. I no longer have to believe it and believe what you've told me. I've now verified it. So, what Nathan's trying to say here, in the same context, we don't believe that it's flat. It's not based off a belief, it's based off knowledge via the Earth being measured as flat. Do
I
you
mean,
understand that?
I understand what you're saying, but I disagree because if you know something, that implies that you also believe it. So we're
Okay,
just
well, we're
getting
not
hung
going
up
to get
God, this
into the
is painful.
semantics of words.
Yeah, who
Well,
We're
cares?
not
you-
going to worry about the
Sorry.
semantics of words. The
Who
fact
cares?
is,
Who cares? If I
It's
he was
fine.
the
I'll
one
use
that
this
took
example.
an
If
issue with
I'll
it.
use this example. If he says, "Oh, we're on a tape measure down something," and then I tell someone that I've measured it 3 centimeters long, yeah, you can for the 9th time try and reposition this that when you've measured it with a tape measure, that suddenly the person you've told has got a belief in it. This is it's completely irrelevant.
Well, yeah, it is irrelevant. I don't know why I'm getting so hung up on it. I just want to how do you think about all the implications of this particular belief? Like
It's not
the
a
fact that
belief.
all of the
9 times. It's not
no,
a
it is.
belief.
It's you can know something, and
Yeah,
it
that's
can
it.
also be a belief.
Yeah, we
right?
covered this.
We're just
You're just
saying
trying to
that it's a
antagonise
belief
me because
is
you've done it 9
neutral.
times. You're just
I'm not
antagonising me now.
antagonizing.
Well, you are, because you keep repositioning this to make it my belief. And when I've told you 9 times it isn't, it's based on measurement. I've told you what measurement it's based on. You're not discussing that. Someone's now chanting through the top of me, of course. Got someone with their mic wide open while I bleat about the fact that you've spent 9 occasions trying to reposition this into a belief that I've got when it isn't. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it 10 times. It's getting irritating. You said, I don't know why I'm so hung up on it. And then you did it again immediately.
Yeah, because
can't
it is a
believe this guy.
belief. You just like you can know something, and
Just
the
get rid of
thing
him.
that you
Just mute him. Just get rid of him
think
from the discussion, please. I don't want to talk to him anymore. I don't want to do this another 10 times. No, thank you. No, no longer
Yeah,
take
that's
part in the
painful.
conversation. If you can't take a bloody subtle hint that we don't want to talk about something that is not a belief, and then you want to say, well, measurement. Well, I can turn measurement into a belief. If I tell someone else it and they have to believe me, no, that's completely non sequitur. It's not relevant. Who cares? 10 times is just you being a dick.
If my foreman tells me to go measure the bedroom, and I come up and I say, I think it's 12 by 18. I believe it's 12 by 18. Smacked in the head.
We're dealing with thickos. That guy's incapable of having a normal conversation. I don't understand when you say that you're not basing a belief on a measurement. That's too complicated. So beliefs that you've got, right? Okay, Mr. One-Track Mind. Mr. I must focus on this as a belief, and if I don't, I can't do anything else.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he believes in a globe, which was derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to and from Polaris. How bizarre!
Yeah, we never got there. It was only going to be a conversation about my belief I don't hold. Otherwise, it wasn't going to be a conversation. It was that 9 times or nothing. You have to start sucking
we
it
knew
up
he
on the
was
globe
retarded
side.
as soon as he mentioned
Sorry.
belief.
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, I was saying we knew he was retarded as soon as he mentioned beliefs.
Globe side are going to have to start
Unbelievable.
sucking it up. Their belief is based on our measurements.
No beliefs necessary in knowing something.
Not relevant.
If you measure something, it's a measurement. It's not a belief, it's a measurement.
Yeah, there's obviously some particular globers that have got a certain way that they're going to argue, they're set in their mind, and if they can't take that path, they can't do anything. They can't go anywhere. They're stuck in a cognitive loop that's never ending. We heard the level of argumentation he had to offer. It's measured flat. So if I measure 3 centimetres, is it 3 centimetres? That's his argumentation. That's his rebuttal. That's the standard.
You think they'd be coming in here shouting and screaming how it is a globe, because that's their belief, and they've been convinced of that. Well, put your evidence forward. Will be a flat Earth measurement evidence, by the way.
Well, for that guy, that goes without saying. For that guy, there's no question it's a globe. It's like, okay, are you guys serious? That's his actual question. He can't quite believe we don't believe as he does. So that's his line of questioning. I can't believe you don't believe what I believe. So let's talk about beliefs.
You know what I just noticed, Nathan? They used to say, everyone knows it's a globe. Everyone knows it's a sphere. Now we're the ones saying, we know it's flat.
Thing is, Neil, they know it's flat because the evidence is there. Just look at latitude, how it was derived. Yeah, elevation angles, sea level. They know it's flat too.
Yeah, the ones that it's presented to, but like a guy that, just like this guy that he can't comprehend it.
Well, his world has literally been shattered.
No, he left this server going, they're rude. They talked over me. That's what he's leaving thinking. I couldn't give a damn. Go away with your stupid normie life living on a globe. I couldn't care less. You want to psychoanalyze us as flat earthers, do you? Oh, get lost. Weak.
Well, this is what they all do, yeah? They say that there is no true definition to a word. However, we know that a belief is an acceptance of something that exists as true without any type of proof or evidence, where knowing we have a clear knowledge or a clear, certain perception of a fact or truth, which is a state of knowing something. So they like to come in here, they know they don't have the evidence, they know they don't have anything to present. So instead, they like to make their own meanings of words and argue about semantics instead.
Okay, just a forewarning to the server. So in about 5 minutes, I'm going to go live to the YouTube audience. All I ask is that you don't swear.
Defy swear.
Define swear? No, I think everyone knows what swear means.
Means most of the Aussies should mute up.
Again, Matrix?
I said it means most of the Aussies should mute up.
Oh, that's like a slur on the racist use of expletives. You can neither confirm nor deny, it seems.
I found that conversation quite interesting because, like, they're aware that their whole globe belief is a belief because they don't have any verifiable proof. So they're trying to make flat Earth the same thing, a belief. And they're dismissing everything you're saying about it, about, measuring it. So it's pretty sad to me that he went there.
He needs
Yeah, they
to go
understand
there.
that nothing about the globe is self-evident.
To him, it's self-evident globe, and it's now let's have a false dichotomy: your belief versus my belief. So we need to establish first and foremost that you've got a belief, so it can be compared to mine. You start to see patterns, obviously, having done this for so many years, in terms of what a globe defender will do and how they must position themselves in the debate before they've even started.
Sharibo, hello.
Hey, thank you.
Hello.
Good to be here. I tend to find on a Friday that there's some exceptionally exciting bits that will pop out of the show, but there's also an odd pace, let's just say. Like, it might take 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes to get into the wrangle-dangle that we do here on Flat Earth Debate. Nevertheless, I'm going to do some what has become housekeeping for being in politics server, which is to state the main reason that we're actually here, which is to say that over the course of 2024, we've been pointing out to people that Earth is measured flat, and that this should be our default position on the front foot, which is to say, rather than explaining to somebody in a cult of globe why their globe fails, explain to them on the front foot how Earth is measured. No need for any beliefs anymore if you're a flat earther. Know how Earth is actually dealt with, and eventually you'll appreciate that that understanding is what leads to an extrapolation of a globe faith from those flat Earth measurements. So that's why we're here, to spread that good word and hopefully keep everybody on the front foot moving forward, so that we don't hear people saying, if we're on a globe, we'd see too far, or whatever crap we've been saying for the last 10 years as flat earthers. So that's why we're here, to spread that good message. And
Are you saying we're here to spread the flat out truth?
Just here to highlight the fact that we've spent 10 years arguing from a position of rejecting the current standpoint. The current position of a globe has been rejected. Here's why, is what a typical pre-2024 flat earther would do. We're saying, well, why? Let your opponent make that argument if they're going to say that you're on a sphere, and then pull it apart if you've got a good sense of the argument. Don't be in the argument if you haven't. But in terms of just people who turn up to the debate and go, oh, I wonder what this is all about, they need to hear our position first and foremost. Well, what is their position? Our position is that's how Earth's measured. And if we get a globe claim to have to be reactive to, point out how their measurement of Earth is also flat, for it to turn into a globe.
Well, it might have been acceptable a few years back. We didn't have, like, the information that's out today. There should be no more, look, rejection of the globe because of this or because of that. Now you have rock solid, silver bullet proof that Earth is flat.
Yeah. Because we're unknown in this server for the most part, it might be the case that your average General Joe from the public comes in and can't quite believe that he's got a room full of flat earthers, like we had in the pre-show. Do you guys really think the Earth's flat? Yeah, we do. It's measured that way. It's not actually a belief, as was asked of us, and then rinsed and repeated 9 times because the conversation couldn't go anywhere unless we accepted that we had a belief in the measurements of Earth, which we don't. They're measurements. But nevertheless, we'll see how we get on today. See who comes in. For my live audience, accept and understand that there may be some protracted silences as we wait for whoever's next up to put their claim forward. Sometimes they take a little bit of coaxing.
They're not like in the sorry guys, they're not like in the latitude evidence. I've had this conversation with a couple of people and they start getting a little bit, oh, you're not bringing that up again, are you? I say, well, yeah, I'm bringing it up. You obviously don't like it, the way the latitude grid was measured. Yeah, using elevation angles to and from Polaris on a flat, level, horizontal plane. They don't like that.
Did you have something you wanted to add, Raiden? Raiden?
I asked it the other day, but no one answered it. It has to do with NASA and satellite images. I'm just wondering, do you guys think that NASA knows what the shape of the Earth is and they're just lying about it? Or do you think they don't know what the shape is?
Not necessarily a subject that I love to cover because it's all speculation. I don't know what NASA know. At some
Okay, well,
point,
that's a good answer.
you can only guess what NASA know.
Okay, okay, that's fair enough.
There's a strong inference based on the fact that they're deceiving you about what the sky is, but that is NASA as an entity, historically and to date, deceiving us about what the sky is. Does that mean that anybody currently alive has to know? Not necessarily. I could picture a circumstance where literally none of them know, and the only knowledge they do have are, for example, astronauts knowing that they're lying about going to space when they're pretending to go to a place that doesn't exist. But they might not know that space isn't real. They might have somebody above them saying, well, for the following reasons, you personally can't go to that place in the sky that's definitely real, but we're going to need you to lie about it. Well, that person then knows they're lying. They just don't know why. And they may very well also believe that the sky is a vacuum in violation of natural law.
Okay. And like you said, this is all speculation, of course.
Well, that isn't. No, if the people who say they've been to a sky vacuum are liars. They know they're lying, but they might not know that there isn't a space to go to.
Well, you said if. That's why I said it's speculation.
Yeah, in terms of... That's why it's kind of pointless to go pitchforks in hand to NASA and say, tell us the truth. It's like, how do you know they know?
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to get a feel for how you guys thought. If you just thought they knew the shape of the Earth and they're lying about it, or they honestly don't know what the shape is.
They might, but we know they're liars. So once you know that, you just turn your back on them as far as I'm concerned. That's how I would deal with a liar. If somebody's told me something that's not true, I have no value for that anymore. So I just turn my back on that person and recommend others do the same. If you go back to a liar and start appealing to them for the truth, what do you think's going to happen? There's a good chance I'll start lying to you again.
Why don't you go back to a liar?
That's what human beings do. They like to lie about it.
Hold on, Neil's decided to pipe up.
No, I said, unfortunately, human beings tell lies. We can't really get around that.
No. If you can, pop yourself on mute, though, when you're not talking, Raiden, because otherwise your mic is a bit of a train wreck and causing a horrendous sound. Just so you know. Go ahead, Neil.
Did you give instructions today? You're just winging it. Did you tell people when you're not talking, please go on mute and no swearing because I'm doing a show?
I don't
anyway,
give those in.
Why would you go back to a liar? When somebody's lying to you, they think you're stupid enough to believe them. So basically, they're calling you stupid.
Yeah, in the circumstances where you're dealing with a specific liar. So if you were to start asking an astronaut who says he's been to space what the sky really is, then yeah, you're asking for trouble. Because in that particular instance, you know that person's lied about going there. So it's like, well, if you've had to lie about going to a place that I know, the person asking might not know isn't real. But for the person who's answering, the astronaut, when they start telling the person asking the question, what is the sky, why would you expect them to have anything more than just more lies? They don't know. They haven't been there. That's the point. So for an expectation that they're going to give you the truth if you pin them on their lie, nah, most liars squirm. Tell more lies.
You said space is fake. You want to correct yourself?
Outer space, the sky vacuum, is fake. Space is just the area that you can measure. So it's just say space is too broad. So outer space, otherwise known as a sky vacuum, the vacuum of space is fake. The sky vacuum is fake. The area they claim that they've got orbiting motion and rocket ships and travel, that's the fake bit. All claims that have come from a sky vacuum are instantaneously fake. Doesn't matter if it's pictures or orbits. Right, well, has gone a little bit stony silent. I trimmed out a load of bits. I say a load, one that I made slightly more concise after hearing it published. Videos from yesterday's show about Thomas Sheridan that hacked up with a little bit of Apollo 13 in the middle. Did anybody catch that?
Oh,
No,
I
I've
didn't.
not heard it yet, Nathan. No.
It's all right. Thomas Sheridan was talking about Apollo 13 and pointing out that, that was an amazing event and it's, programmed the minds of many because of how influential a moment it really was. And in the short, I'm pointing out that, well, the rhetoric is stating that there's the terrible, horrible misfortune of gas dispersion into the sky vacuum where they're travelling back from the moon, having not made it because of this problem. So the problem that they're suffering is what? Well, the problem is gas fills space, doesn't it? That's a problem. They need it to stay under containment, so they've got it to use it for whatever purpose they're using it for. And without it, they're a bit screwed. So, gas filling space, entropy, second law of thermodynamics, dispersion, that's causing them a bit of a problem when they have a bit of a gas explosion in the sky vacuum. All the gas leaks out into the vacuum. Oh, what's that blue marble? Oh, check it out. That's got high pressure gas all over it and it's just fine. But we better get back there quickly. Because out here in space, gas fills it. The Earth doesn't have that concern, obviously. It doesn't need to worry about that. Anyway, I was much more concise in the shorts video that I trimmed and edited. So that I released on TikTok as well.
Is that the one where they used the sextant to get back to the pressurized blue marble?
That was the discussion topic, right? Yeah. So we're talking about sextants in space, which we haven't talked about for a few years. And it always gets lots of people in the comments pleased about the fact that we're talking about something so absurd. It always gets a warm reception. Sextants in space is it's something maybe we should talk about a bit more because it's rare that we talk about space at all, isn't it?
Hey, that's a hilarious issue with Apollo 13 you brought up. I love that.
I just see it as them laughing at us, actually. So when it came up on the show, a lot of the panel laughed, and I'm like, no, they're laughing at us. We can find it amusing now we're in on the gag, but the gag's there to be fell for by us. And when we are, the person who's created that gag is laughing at us. Obviously not directly, but when they create that gag, well, let's have the problem being that the gas is going to fill the space, because then everyone's focus is on the vacuum. They're all acutely aware of how dangerous it is that the shuttle or module might lose all of its gas. So everyone will be acutely aware. Meanwhile, Earth's not filling the area of volume with its gas pressure. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're just laughing at us. Stupid's delight.
That's like the Tesla, isn't it? The Tesla in space. I wonder if the sat-nav works on that.
Yeah, I thought that was another Jupiter's delight because it worked in a slightly more, I don't want to say subtle way. It worked on a different group of people. There you go. So lots of normies would see that image and go, well, of course it's fake. It's so obviously fake. And you go, well, actually, no, that's claimed to be real. And they go, no. You'd end up as a flat earther going, no, you have to accept this as being real. It's pretending to be real. Now, I appreciate that you and I and everyone else looking at it goes, wow, that's really fake. There's a man in a car in the sky vacuum? Really? That seems really stupid. Yeah, it is. Yeah, they've just took it a bit too far, haven't they? But it now works on normies too, and you then have to point out to the normie that they should be accepting that as real because it's punted as real.
Didn't Elon Musk say it's real because it looks so fake?
Yeah, he did. Again, that's Jupiter's delight. He undoubtedly knows he's having to fake it, and when he puts that fake material under people's nose, his double bluff is it's real because it looks so fake. No, it's fake because it looks so fake. It's fake because there's no sky vacuum to put the car in.
There was an obvious point to that the tyres didn't explode when it was in the vacuum, which I thought was a bit obvious.
Well, I think that's akin to the rockets wouldn't work in a sky vacuum argument. They want you to be arguing about what would or wouldn't happen in the sky vacuum. because then both parties are begging the question that there is a sky vacuum. It's just whether or not the tyres would explode in it or not.
Why would the tires explode?
Excuse me, did you not hear what I just said? If I
No,
now
I don't.
argue with
I
you
don't
about whether or
really.
not the tyres would explode, we're both under the assumption that there is a sky vacuum. It's just whether or not tyres would explode in it or not. No, there isn't a sky vacuum.
Yeah, so would they explode in a sky vacuum?
There isn't a sky vacuum for them to explode in.
No, okay. If you say that, again, would they even explode?
In a
Which
vacuum?
the answer would be no.
Why not?
Why? Why there'd be no reason for them to. The pressure differential wouldn't be high enough.
You're telling me that the force of the pressure inside a tyre isn't enough to want to... what are you talking about? You're almost saying that entropy won't take hold for a tyre.
Yeah.
If we were to take the tyre and put it into a vacuum chamber and remove all the pressure around the tyre, then yeah, eventually the air inside the tyre is going to make its way out.
What is pressure differential to you?
Why? Why are you asking?
Because I know that from like history's past, you haven't been really too good on numbers, so I'm just questioning you.
So it's a personal attack. Then. So it's a personal attack.
No, I'm asking you what is pressure differential to you.
My
That way I know
history
we're
of
on the
numbers.
same page.
Sorry, you said you know my history of numbers. That's a personal attack about me and my understanding of numbers. Then it is a personal attack. Then
no.
So when you said you've got an understanding of my comprehension of numbers, so that was completely irrelevant, nonsense waffle word salad that meant nothing and had no value. Then because it's not relevant.
Oh,
it's
no,
not
it
a personal attack.
does,
You're going to yammer through me pointing out the flaws in your logic. Either you're guilty of a personal attack. Stop.
What is a pressure differential?
That means stop.
Can you
We're gonna deal with your motivation. That's why you're asking. Your motivation was a personal attack. So I'm going to need to deal with that first before I get onto gas pressure differentials that require containment, debunking a sky vacuum. Before we get to that, we're going to deal with your requirement and need to attack me personally. I want to deal with that first. Why would you want to attack me personally about my comprehension of numbers?
It shows a history of your lack of understanding when you talk about these subjects.
So it's a personal attack. Nothing to do with...
No, it's a history. It shows your history with numbers. So something to fall back on so we can talk about it.
Is he dumb? Yeah, that's a personal attack for the third time.
No.
Yes, what shall I do? Do I carry on with a guy that's clearly an asshole? Or do I just accept that his need to attack me personally, specifically me personally, won't be accepted by him as a personal attack? It is. Now, if he can't accept that, it means even in this moot point, he cannot concede. Yeah, something that's glaring. That's why I've done it, by the way, to make really obvious to an audience who are in no doubt that it's a personal attack. It's really obvious. When you can't concede that, I'm justified in saying, I don't want to talk to you because you're unreasonable. What, an obvious personal attack because it's about me personally and my understanding personally of numbers that I deal with personally isn't a personal attack. That makes you a prick. You're here to attack me. Obviously. I'm not going to have a discussion with me when your only motivation is to demean and attack me personally. Not the discussion. Yeah? Obviously. Because you can't even concede the fact you're attacking me personally when you are.
What do you want him to do? It doesn't sound like he has much of an argument.
Nathan, if a triangle had sides of 1, 1, and 1, what are the angles?
Right, why is this relevant? So he just wants
Why is it relevant?
At this point, I'm going to ask a mod to remove him. So now he's asking me questions about triangles. Anything to do with the original subject of a space car? And the non-vacuum it can't be in? And the differential of tyres? No, it's a personal... He's got one motivation. To attack me personally. That's all he wants to do. So at this point, now that he's got a new question... that also attacks me personally, right? Trying to get a gotcha on me. That's all he's doing. I don't want to talk to this guy anymore. What an arsehole.
Nathan, you came against his belief that there's a car in outer space.
Yeah, so let's attack the person saying it's credibility. Because if this guy doesn't understand the angles in a triangle, then the car is really in space? No, but I've done a really good job attacking this person's credibility.
Some of these Globers claims just don't add up.
One deck, they have nowhere else to go. Now it's going to be constant personal attacks, constant ad homs, because they have nowhere to go.
Yeah,
Well, maybe he's just not sure what a triangle adds up to, so he's just asking for some clarification for his own knowledge.
It has no relevance at all. Beyond being a personal attack when he asked that question, there's no point in being here. What are you here for? Well, to make you look stupid and nothing else. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. Every question I ask will be angled to make you look stupid. But we don't do that. Now, we may laugh when people do stupid things, and if it's on topic, we'll point out how stupid it is with respect to the argument. But we're not sitting here just ad-homming people. I'm not going after Neil deGrasse Tyson and pointing out how crap his hair is. Am I?
Strange, like the first guy comes in, accuses you of having a belief system of flat Earth when you explained, without a doubt, that's how it's measured. And now the second guy's come in with add-on attacks and talking about numbers and triangles. Not doing so well, are they?
Well, yeah.
Little itty-bitty triangle, killing them all.
He wasn't asking about, he was asking about any triangle. It doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. Not got anything to do with the subject of gas dispersion, has it? Entropic law overcomes the idea that we've got space for a car to be in. That's it. That's the discussion. My credibility doesn't alter the second law of thermodynamics and how gas disperses into volumes. Even the attack itself is weak source. Like, if somebody's completely useless at maths, does that mean that every word they say can be completely disregarded? All right, okay. I see. Better check.
Doesn't add up, does it?
Well, better check Picasso's maths acumen. Because if his maths acumen isn't there, then his artistry is not worth its salt. What are you talking about? This is a completely different standard. Talking about second law of thermodynamics and gas dispersion.
I think sometimes they like to talk about mathematics because that's all they've got for their globe model. Well, I'll rephrase that. That's not all they've got. They do have flat Earth elevation angle measurements to and from Polaris to get latitude grid to establish, then mathematically turn that into a globe. But we are obsessed with maths nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, at least pick something that's on topic if you're going to accuse me of having a crappy maths acumen. Pick something that I'm going to go, I don't know the answer to that mathematically. And then you've got me over a barrel. It's like, in the conversion process, there's some really heavy maths. Now, it's not really relevant to me. It's not my claim for a globe that I'd need to know it. But just by example, if we were discussing Haversine and you started to drill me down on what Haversine is, I'd be like, I don't know. I've not even looked at it. I don't care. I understand the process of conversion. I could describe that. But if you say, no, give me the actual maths, I don't know them. They're not mine. Why would I have that maths? All I need to do is understand and appreciate how it functions to convert, to give you a dangling pizza slice and your PZX triangles. So I've got a basic understanding of it. But if you put me in a position where I'm detailing that, and then my knowledge is lacking, then you've got a good point when you say, well, doesn't seem like your credibility is very good when you're trying to convert a flat plane elevation angle measurement onto a pizza slice that I can project from hell through the pizza slice to the celestial hemisphere. You didn't seem to describe the maths perfectly. No, I didn't, did I? Well, therefore, Earth's a sphere. Yeah, well, that won't be a winning argument, but it'll definitely attack my credibility within the topic, and you'll get away with it. Asking me how much the angles in a triangle add up to, or what was his other question? about gas pressure differentials with no actual question to follow. It's like, well, how's that going to win? Next.
Next.
You've had thousands of years to gather globe proof, and yet here we are attacking me. I've only been here about 40 years, just over. So what, after thousands of years of stacking up so-called globe evidence, the best you've got is to attack a guy who's only been around for 40 plus years? Really? Is that it? What are you going to tell him in 100 years' time? Oh, well, we attacked Nathan Oakley. Wasn't that enough? We showed he didn't know what a triangle was. Was that not enough to prove Earth's a sphere? No, we were hoping for the thousands of years of globe evidence. There was us thinking that would be a high standard. But meanwhile, you think attacking me is a good methodology for winning? Okie dokie, lads. Standards, very high, very high. As I say, we don't do that, do we? Got no interest in attacking the personal nature of somebody who's putting out globe information. Just interested in their globe information and how it's based on a flat Earth. That's all we're interested in.
I mean, do you remember the one where they used to draw a circle on a graph paper and then zoom into a part of the circle and say, look, it looks flat, and that's the reason the globe's so big, it's so flatty. There was a guy doing that last night on Politics. Gone out of his way to draw a circle, zoom in on it, zoom out on it, and this was his proof that we live on a spherical Earth. Apparently, zooming into a circle on a piece of graph paper.
Yeah, because on screen now we've got an elevation angle which requires a flat baseline. So if they can suggest that, well, the curved surface is just so big that I can get a straight, flat baseline for thousands of miles, then it all's cushy. It's perfectly fine. Like, no, you clown. Baseline's flat. Earth is measured flat with elevation angles. They have to be because it's a triangle. Now, if we were arguing about triangles in this respect, with a flat baseline, again, I'd be happy if you started pointing out that I don't know how a triangle works within the context of the discussion. Of course, I only need to know one aspect of it. This line. Yeah? That's all I need to know. This flat line that's part of this measurement, essential for ground positions with respect to the flat baseline. That's it, Earth's measured flat. What's that? Earth's so big that this line can be flat, so it can be flat. Yeah, it can be flat, Mr. I'm going to apologise for how flat it must be, because it's globe-shaped, when we measure it flat. Yeah, they can do that, but we'll just tan their hides when they do. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, everyone.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, one deck. Ask me a question, Nathan.
Do you know for sure and without a doubt that the Earth is flat?
Yes, without a doubt. Resounding yes. But that's not the question I was looking for. Ask me, what is a pressure differential?
What's a pressure differential, Brian?
A pressure differential.
It's kind of self-explanatory, you mean?
What kind of a bozo is that guy?
Yeah.
And he's talking about triangles.
Wait.
He can't mention triangles. Sorry, go on, Chocolate.
Wait. Let me try. A differential in pressure?
Yep.
Right, Brian, I've got another question for you. You won't get this one. What is a circle of equal altitude?
Well, it's a circle of equal altitude. A circle where all points within that circle are an equal distance from an elevation above it.
So for the audience,
they all have an equal. From every point within the circle, if you had a straight line straight up, all the straight lines would be the same length.
So for the audience's benefit, if you were using these 3 points, the 3 stars in the sky correspond with 3 points on the ground called ground positions. Well, if you were drawing these on a map and you've got your time, measured your angle, written it down, you then go and look it up in the almanac. What you're actually going to do is draw a circle with the, just put my mouse on it, for this star here. The circle will be from this midpoint, if you were to use a, what do they call them? Is it a protractor? Like that angly thing that you use, compass. And then you draw your circle on the map, which is all the way around here. Well, all of that is a circle of equal elevation. Likewise with this star. You've got a center point for a circle. The outside edge of it is where you are, but that's the circle. All of it being a circle of equal altitude. All on the same level. That's how it functions. That's how it's measured. That's what Earth is. So 10th has just supplied me with this diagram, which is an overhead view of the same thing. So that would be the point that you're measuring from on the previous diagram, which I'll go back to in a second. This would be the star, and obviously you wouldn't see the angle because we're on a bird's eye view. It's just going to be the same as the baseline. A straight, flat line from bird's eye view. Nevertheless, there's a line up to the star and along the baseline to S3 in this instance, so that you can use your compass and draw a circle. What you're trying to achieve is this, where they all converge. Now, if for the sake of argument, one of these circles was over land at a point where they converge, so let's say this point is where you are, and this point down here is land, then you immediately discount this point, so you don't need to get a third circle. But if you're right in the middle of the ocean and you get two, you still haven't figured out if you're here or here, then you need a third circle. But all of them are, as Brian was just asked about it, circles of equal elevation, circles of equal altitude, based on the angle measurement on this diagram. Yeah? Hope that's clear.
The point is, that was, sorry, Brian, that was brilliant, that, Nathan. I really enjoyed that. But the point is, as well, just to go back to the, this is how stupid it is. What's a pressure differential? Well, it's a pressure differential. And then that's why I brought up the proof is in the pudding, isn't it? What's a circle of equal altitude? I mean, it tells you right there in the words, and this is what we're up against all the time. Well, what's horizontal? What's level? It's crazy out there.
Yeah, the moment something is defined as defeating their position, they need to redefine it. What does that mean? What does level mean? Well, having no part higher or lower than the other. No, let's redefine it so that it moves around the outside edge of a sphere. Comporting with the outside edge of a sphere is what level means. No, because then you can't define the curve with respect to a level if you haven't got a level to define it with. You first need level. It's a geometric axiom. You can't bend it. Oh, right, but because your belief in a curved surface that's measured level needs a redefining of the word level. Because obviously that's not sphere-shaped anymore, and that's how we're measuring it. So level doesn't mean level anymore, even though it's an axiomatic principle that must be adhered to define the deviation from level if you're going to describe how curved something is. Yeah, that's what they'll do. Redefine words and their meanings to make it comport with their fundamentalist sphere belief. Meanwhile, axiomatic principles like level won't change and are required in their sphere belief. If they do try to redefine what level is, we take them to their own mathematics, where level's defined as level because it's an axiomatic principle that their geometry is based on. In that particular instance, with Earth curve mathematics, surface level and eye level parallel with one another, unequivocally debunking the notion that level isn't level. Shockingly, it's an axiomatic principle they're using, because they need to measure Earth flat and level. Just change what level means afterwards. Meanwhile, we are measuring Earth as a flat, level, horizontal plane of reference for navigation and mapping. Earth is flat.
Do you have a non-question begging argument for the flat Earth, Nathan?
Again?
A non-question begging argument, please.
But Brenda, you've come the last 3 weeks, and I've pointed out that you have attempted to have my kids removed from me. Go away.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. And now you're a liar. Go away. I won't talk to you. You represent the scum of the earth, the kind of people that I never want to be talking to. I don't want any. I'd rather you weren't involved in this process ever. Obviously, if I'm here, I can just say, please remove this person. They are quite literally disgusting.
Well, in today's day and age, The Earth is, it's horizontal, it's flat, but it identifies as a sphere. So what are you going to do?
Well, as I said at the start of this live broadcast, move on the front foot forward, tell people Earth is measured flat, point out how it's measured, mapped, built on, and then move on with your life or get to know the debate. Understand how they will try and claim it's a sphere by using those flat Earth measurements to base their sphere belief on.
Nathan, can you have a circle on a sphere?
On a sphere, no.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit of a problem if you're drawing out circles of equal elevation, measuring angles to stars, making maps with them. That's going to be a big problem.
People don't. Sorry.
I'm done.
I was just going to say a lot of the ballers don't understand what a circle of equal altitude is. It's a circle, number one, so it's two-dimensional. Doesn't have a three-dimensional cap on the inside of it. And every point in that circle is an equal distance not from the star, because the star would be as the center. It would be an equal distance from the altitude, the measured altitude of the star, or apparent altitude, let's just say, because we don't have a height to the star. So every point within that circle, a straight line up from that point would all be equal. That's the whole point of a circle of equal altitude. I think the ballers think it's just some kind of an equal angle from the edge of a sphere. It's like, no, you don't know what the difference between a circle and a sphere and two-dimensional and three-dimensional shapes are. You don't understand the word altitude or equal. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. We have to go back to like the very basics of geometry to explain to these people. We're not understanding.
Good morning.
Good morning, 10th.
Morning, Sam.
Let's not forget that they're trying to change everything. When you go back and study celestial navigation, it didn't start off with this really refined instrument called the sextant that we have today. It started out with crude instruments that did the same thing, like a square board with a string with knots that represented different latitudes so that you know how to get back to your port. So you would take an angle to Polaris by using the board with your arm outstretched. The bottom of the board would be touching the horizon, and the top of the board would be where Polaris was. And they'd say, okay, so if I want to get back home, let's tie a knot here, because when I'm in the middle of the ocean and I see Polaris to do this again with the horizon, I can see if I'm either above it or below it, and I can make an adjustment north or south, and then just go east or west and get back to my home. So simple. Planar geometry is how the sextants today, as well as all the other things, astrolabe, cross staff, you name it, they all are working on planar geometry.
Right.
It's undeniable. All you got to do is read, if you can read. To the other person who missed the show the other day, Nathan, you have that slide, that black and white one I sent you with the astronomical wedge?
Yeah, it's up
and
there.
Then, yeah, well, you can see here, you got a circle, a disc, a flat area where the angle is being measured from. The astronomical wedge, or in their case, the triangle, which they say is spherical. Well, there's no triangle that goes over 180 degrees. We know that. So where do they measure that from? Well, they measure it from a flat baseline, as you can see in the picture. You can see the dotted lines showing where the radius of that circle of equal altitude would start, the GP of the star, sun, whatever, to the observer. What it is a perception of 0 to 90 back to 180 in the sky. And they've created a spherical triangle, which is an oxymoron. It's more exacting to say a wedge of perspective. And then you could see that outside one, the bigger one, the first one on the top. That's what you see in the sky as they call the imaginary celestial sphere. Now, they call it imaginary. We know that your viewing of the eye shows 0 to 90 back to 180, protractor style. And so they see this and they say, oh, look at that, it's curving. Let's bring that down using the same straight lines, and let's make the Earth's surface out of it. Now you see the second wedge, which is their so-called globe Earth surface. It's just a projection back down of an angle that's, from a perspective viewpoint, looks like a wedge. But it's not a wedge. I mean, do you realize you need to be on the flat baseline to even get that?
Yeah.
Well, if you wouldn't mind me saying something about that, Tent, the celestial dome, because it's not a sphere, celestial dome, that's purely mathematical. As in, that's just the best way, or the easiest way to represent the perspective view we have of the sky orthographically. So they just use a protractor to represent it orthographically. That does make the sky curved. So even when you're saying perspective, it's a mathematical afterthought after perspective is what they're actually creating these PZX triangles. Well, they're not triangles, because all they are is they're pre-assuming that the sky is a dome around them, and they're pre-assuming then that they're making three circles that intersect. And because circles are curved, obviously on the outside, where these three circles intersect, they're then calling the point in the middle, they're calling that a spherical triangle, which is ridiculous because you can't have a spherical triangle. But that's what they do. So there is no like when they're hijacking the celestial dome and trying to turn it into a sphere and all the other nonsense they're doing, that's all mathematical afterthought. Because in reality, nobody sees a curved sky. We don't see that. Nobody observes that with their eyes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're drilling down to the most basic pedantic understanding of it. I don't even have to go that far, but I don't disagree with anything you say. I'm just showing you this picture that Nathan has up that shows the wedge being brought down and then assumed as the Earth's surface when it's really a measurement of the sky of the stars from a flat baseline that you got in the first instance. It is so ridiculous once you realize what they're doing.
Yeah. Thanks, Tenth.
Yeah. You're welcome. It's right there. Let's not forget.
So just for the audience's benefit,
show the astronomical rectangle, which validates what Brian said and what I said.
Yes. So just for the audience's benefit, this triangle here is your angle measurement with respect to a flat baseline. That's a flat Earth measurement of a star. Yeah, it's represented in a very weird way with the triangle cutting off halfway through and all sorts of other weird representations. But this is just an angle measurement to a star. You can see the star in the diagram nice and clearly. So that diagram is the same as this diagram. Is that same angle measurement to the star. Yeah, that's the same as this diagram. A guy measuring an angle to a perceived point in the sky. Now, although you said it's dumbed down or whatever you said about Brian's point, I'm just going to reiterate Brian's point. From this guy's perception, if there's a star up here, yeah, where there's a gap in the sky, yeah, that is what Brian's trying to describe as a hemisphere over this sky. Each angle to each star that he can see, then the measured one, and then the ones getting closer to the horizon, are just representative of a protractor wrapped around his view. Well, that protractor that's wrapped around his view, I'll go back to the diagram that 10th Man was focused on for the most part, that is this semicircle that cuts through, let's get on the right one, this celestial view from the ground. So this is the circle on the ground, and this is the circle on the ground, with the guy measuring the angle. But if you take what Brian described as the perspective view, and then project the points that are on the ground through a wedge here, yeah, it'd actually be here. Let's just do that again. So if this point is making up the point on the celestial sphere that you can see, you can mathematically project a point through it here, and that represents, I'm nearly done, this wedge in the middle. So it's the view you get of the stars through a hemispherical perspective-based view, projected down onto what they say is the globe surface on this wedge. In reality, you're just measuring an angle on this flat surface. That's where it all begins. This angle to this star. Okay, thank you, 10th.
Yeah, I'm not done. Can you go to the astronomical rectangle, which wholly slams the hammer on them? You have
I'm on it.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm on it.
Okay, thank you. You see the circle? You see that flat plane? You see the rectangle will have 4 90-degree boxes. They're a little bit sleight of hand cheating here, showing a little curved line on the bottom adjacent and the top co-altitude. That's not the way it works because they even put 90 there. They need to put a box in each of those corners. We live on a flat Earth, folks. This is celestial navigation. It must create an astronomical rectangle or a celestial rectangle. The rest of it is hokey pokey. This is the bottom line right here. When the likes of Brenda come on and say, you don't need the horizon, yeah, that's because you can get your co-altitude directly with a plumb bob and a protractor with a straw on the adjacent, and you look and you get your co-altitude instantly using the observer's zenith because you're not on the boat rocking. But when you're at sea with the mariner sextant, you're on the boat rocking. So it's a 2-step process to get to that co-altitude that you didn't need the horizon for. Well, let's see how that works. You sight the horizon, bring the star down, and then you get your elevation angle. Then you subtract that from 90, which gives you your co-altitude, which is the same thing that you do on land with a protractor, with a straw, on the adjacent, with a plumb bob. So we're trying to get to the co-altitude by any means, because that is the zenith distance from the star's GP to the observer's zenith position on Earth. And those two zeniths have to be parallel, not diverging, as shown by the rectangle, the astronomical rectangle, and the bottom baseline system of navigation. This must happen this way. Where is the curve of the Earth if you got to have a rectangle?
It can't be one. It has to be 90.
Thank you. I'm done.
You don't even have to do it, just for the flat earthers. You don't even have to use the co-altitude. You can just multiply your elevation angle by 60 and then subtract that, whatever your figure is, from 5,400. Your remainder will be your distance. So you don't even need to use the co-altitude. The bonus thing, you have to use the co-altitude. But if you are using co-altitude, then those zeniths must be parallel. There's no other way for it to work.
Yeah, but they whistle past what co-altitude is, don't they? Because the reason they want to use co-altitude is because it's in the sky. So it's not referenced to the ground, even though we're navigating the ground. Well, why is it called co-altitude? Well, because it's parallel and the same as the zenith distance, which is the ground distance that you need. So it's co-altitude because it's the opposite part of what you actually require, which is the zenith distance, the distance on the ground.
Yeah, the fact that you have what's called a zenith distance means that the distance between every 2 points of equal, let's say, height above both GPs, the distance between those 2 points must be equal.
Exactly.
So they can't be divergent.
Exactly.
You can't geometrically be divergent.
Exactly. And you add in another person doing the same. So let's say you've got one particular circle of equal altitude just by chance. 2 mariners are sat on one or other edge on the opposite side of this circle, right? So they both happen to be using star 1 to navigate with. Yeah? And their principle of having parallel zeniths runs to the guy who's measuring on the left and to the zenith of the star and the guy measuring on the right. So his zenith is also parallel. But he can measure 2 other stars off to the right, and the first mariner can measure 2 other stars off to the left. All of them have to have parallel zeniths. This is like it's like 8 zeniths in total. All of them have got to be parallel for this to work. Yeah, there's the 7 because one's been shared.
Yeah, can I just point out something about the whole celestial dome thing?
Yeah.
If I'm on a boat and I take 3 different angles to 3 different stars, right, that are more or less in alignment from where I am. The first angle is 70, let's say obviously I have 90 degrees above my head. The first angle is 72 degrees, the second angle is 41 degrees, and the third angle is 19 degrees. Then what creates those points, right? If you take those 3 points, right, orthographically, you can make that, the way to represent that is the easiest way, I should say. It's not the only way, but the easiest way to represent that is with a curved line between connecting up those 3 points. But what creates those 3 points? It's the horizontal distance from the observer creates those 3 points, because there's 3 different horizontal distances. So exactly. It's just let me just finish. It's the horizontal baseline of the protractor that creates the points on the arc above it, if you understand. Go on, Nathan.
Just agreeing, yeah. The circles that you've got. If I've got 2 diagrams that I'm going to use to make your point. Excellent point. On this diagram on screen now that you've got in the Hangout, you've got the star. If I now do what you said one was at about 45 degrees, which is this one. Then you said one's at 70 something. So let's just say that one's up here. You can't see my mouse, but I'm off to the left and slightly, I'm doing that as the second star. And then you said one at 19 degrees. So let's say that's also to the left. So you've got one low on the left on the dome, one slightly above it on the dome, and one that's actually depicted. Yeah, so we're imagining 2 more on the left, one at 19 and one at 70 something. Yeah? You with me so far? Well, that perspective view, and it's even marked, right? 180 here. Well, they're all being represented as fitting into this equal space of a protractor. That's all this then represents, where you see them on the protractor. Yeah? However, in reality, the circles are all different lengths. There's a further distance from this point than there is to this point. Ergo, this star's going to be higher in the sky than this one. This one's going to be a 45 degree. This one's going to be a 70. And this one's going to be a 20 degree. Yeah? And they are representing points that are further away. This star is above ground that's further away from you. So if you were to draw it in orthographic view, 2-dimensionally, you'd have exactly what you're seeing, what it represents. Not the dome of perspective that's turned into a globe and a celestial sphere, but a very narrow angle to the star that's far away. That means a bigger circle. That means you've got a flat sky, a flat ground, and a parallel measurement that can be represented as a hemispherical protractor-based view with everything equal measuring to the protractor. It isn't. The one at 20 degrees is much further away. But that's how they've hijacked the view that we get through the protractor to pretend that this, which would be the celestial sphere by perspective-based protractor view as I'm calling it, has another protractor inside it. The globe. With you standing in hell measuring angles through the globe with the points that are in the sky matching to it. That's how this system works. Final slide, the one that, again, 10th Man focused on and this has become a show about, which is great. This view. This is your pizza slices through the projected protractor and the original protractor. Yeah? That's why this diagram looks a mess. The star isn't over the point that's projected onto the ground. It's over here, miles away. Well, why haven't they drawn a dotted line to the actual GP of this star? Why is it off the circle? Well, because it doesn't make sense if you're trying to pretend this has any relevance to a globe, that you're projecting through the points of perspective. This is right on the edge of being as complicated as this subject gets. Nevertheless, that's how they've done it. That's how they've converted flat, plane, elevation, angle measurements into a spherical surface for you to believe you're standing in. That's how it works. That's how we got to the globe. That's how it works.
It's strange,
Well,
isn't it, though, how they've they basically hijacked the perspective of the heavens, turned that into a globe, which they say has no perspective.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
Exactly. They've hijacked perspective in the
What?
heavens and on the ground. They've called the ground-based perspective that we see, that's hashtag shit shrinks. They've called that Earth curve. And then the perspective of the heavens, they've called a celestial and globe, spherical model. Now, there is no actual representation of the model, but in the mind's eye of the people, and with projections like Haversine gives you with PZX triangles and celestial domes / spheres, you can build a globe model off these flat Earth angle measurements.
But what they've done actually is the protractor, all points on the arc of the protractor is created by the length of the adjacent, or sorry, not adjacent, the length of the horizontal or flat baseline. That's purely mathematical. So they've taken something that starts out as a perspective view, angles of a flat plane, and they've mathematically turned that orthographically, because those three stars are not going to be those three different elevations to each other. They'll all be up at the same place. But for the observer, there is three different elevations to the stars above the horizon, right? So all they're doing is turning that orthographically, and then mathematically connecting those 3 points with an arc. And then in between that arc and the flat plane, they're placing another arc, right? And calling that the surface you're on. Even though the very thing that they've just created mathematically can only be created with distances along a flat plane. That's what they're doing. It's actually really simple. If you think it's actually simple.
It is simple, but it's simple when you know how. With 10 years under our belts, it's easy for us to say it's simple.
I suppose, yeah. But I mean, if you can literally teach without telling the kids what they're doing in the classroom. You could tell the kids to do this, this, and this, and they could actually, and then at the last point, put another arc in between the flat plane and the arc you've just made, and they could put another arc in there, and you could that's literally all that's actually happening. It's like something you could do with children in the classroom.
You say that.
It's the afterwards of it is the part.
Now you've gone against what I've said, right? I'm saying it's not simple. You're saying actually it is. You could teach it to kids, and I don't doubt that. But I'm going to take. We'll see if the audience is honest. I'm going to take a quick straw poll, right?
It's not simple to explain to adults.
You see, you're backtracking now. I was about to do a straw poll.
What I mean is, adults have beliefs and complications, whereas you have to bring it down to that simple level, and then you have to accept it. And that, because if it was easy to explain to adults, we wouldn't have adults going around claiming it's a globe, would we? When they already have been shown different. Anyway, sorry.
No, granted, I agree. I completely agree. It's not easy. I'm an adult. It took a year for it to sink in when 10th Man's explaining it in basically the same way he's been explaining it on today's show. Obviously, he's got more and more concise as time has gone by. But it took a while. It took a long time for it to sink in how this functions. There's various eureka moments along the way of aspects of the discussion that sink in immediately and go, oh, right, the baseline's flat. Oh, right, the circle of equal elevation's flat. Something will, stick with the people in the audience, but to understand it as a whole, that's really hard.
Well, basically what they're doing is turning geometry into their world. Go on.
Yeah, chocolate.
Sorry. I mean, we're talking about what could be potentially 5,400 nautical miles, equaling what? Something like 10,000 miles? That's insane. But I'm supposed to believe you can see the Earth curvature at the beach. You gotta love it, man.
Right, as there's not been a massive amount of interaction from the Discord server, I'm going to round out this live show unless someone takes this as their opportunity to pipe up. Egg, ego.
I'm wondering how many flat protractors do they need to find a flat spot on a ball?
How many flat protractors do they need to find a flat spot on a ball? There are no flat spots on a ball.
You guys killed our Globers last week when you showed that
globe doesn't match the almanac dip correction or whatever you want to call it. So they've all been afraid to come in now. That's Brian. That's all Brian.
Yeah, that was Brian's finest hour, boy. They were
Blushing.
talking about it the whole weekend, Brian.
You're blushing, Brian. That has echoed for an entire week. Are you proud?
Dangerous Brian.
Yes, I am.
All I have to do now is just post. Yeah, I just post celestial navigation debunks the globe, and they just get pissed off and they quit, or they start getting all fired up, or they just run away.
Manufactotum didn't come in for the whole week, dude.
Well, you know what it is? You see, I had another point to go after that if he knew what to say. Because what he has to claim is 7/6 distances, right? Because the dip correction doesn't match their globe, right? Their actual globe, the 3959 globe. So he's got to start claiming a globe of an effective size that's bigger than that to get the distances right. And their 7/6 globe, right, comes close to the corrections, right? This is it's not on the corrections, but it comes close to them almost because it lifts the horizon up for them. But that's not, I'm not going to go into it now, but that's not the final correction. The final correction comes after that. They keep on not, they actually tried to use it as an argument against us about 2 years ago, not knowing what it was. Some of the smarter ones, like real and that. And there's a final correction comes in after that. And that final correction is site reduction. And what site reduction does is it removes all dip because it makes the mean sea level the horizontal or it makes it the adjacent of the right angle triangle. And it removes celestial refraction. I won't go into why it removes that because that's actually a fraud. It removes both those things. And what does site reduction give you? It gives you accuracy. So how come removing a fraudulent dip correction that doesn't adhere to their globe, but they try and make it adhere almost to 7/6R, but it doesn't, right? How does removing that and removing celestial refraction give you accuracy? There's only one way it can give you those two. Removing them two gives you accuracy, and using mean sea level as your horizontal, and that is because the Earth is flat. That's how they get accuracy for when they make their 3 right-angled triangles. They have to refer to the site reduction tables. The site reduction tables tells them what it should be, and they calculate that based off of mean sea level being the horizontal, and removing celestial refraction completely. And yet that gives you the best accuracy. That just goes to show how much of a fraud celestial navigation is. It actually is, because they try and mess with everything, even the dip correction they try and mess with. And they try to mess with that, but they can't make it match their globe because it won't. So they have to do all this nonsense, and then afterwards, sorry?
I've got to get in eventually because someone's just super chatted, that's all. Shout out to Slick James Bronson, who says, FED, the best educational service on YouTube. Well, thank you very much. Over 100 people watching. Please share the show if you've not done so already. In case you're unaware, we're in the politics server today, as opposed to the usual Flat Earth Debate Discord server. There will be a link whizzing by periodically from the moderation team on my live stream. So if you did want to join this server, although they've not made a great account of themselves this Friday, no offence. But nevertheless, if you did want to join this server, there will be a link for you to join. And it's not the typical link that's underneath the video, as I suggested in the intro. It will be whizzing its way by in the live stream chat. So do check out the Flat Earth Debate Politics Discord server. And once again, thanks again to Slick James Bronson for smashing the super chat. I am happy to stay live a little bit longer.
Nathan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, please don't go yet.
Can
you put up the rectangle again? The color version
of the presentations, but you go ahead. What did you want me to put up? The rectangle. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you got it up on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Brian has gone down to the nitty-gritty, and it's like pouring salt on wounds. And I love Brian's detailed explanations, because it just, for those who want to argue this point and now are stubborn, Brian says, oh, you want to be stubborn? Here, I'll take it to here. Then, oh, you want to be stubborn? I'll take it to here. And I recommend Brian's videos for all those people. But for everyone else who just wants to keep it simple, Real simple. When they say refraction, or when they give any excuse, if you don't want to understand what Brian's unearthed, which obviously kept them from coming to the show last week on this server, just show them this astronomical rectangle. It doesn't matter if they say refraction anymore. It must be a rectangle.
Sorry to interrupt. Just want to add one more thing. Sensual Goat also super chats with the same exact thing. He says, "Best educational show on YouTube." Thank you for the super chat, Sensual Goat. Carry on, 10th.
Yeah, this is celestial navigation in an image to where you don't even have to buy the books or study it like I did and Brian did and others. This is what must happen. 490s must occur. That could never work on the globe. Say refraction until the sun comes up again. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Say it. Refraction. All right, no problem. This is what has to happen. It blows right through a refraction. You still need a rectangle with 490s. Now, can you put a rectangle with 490s on a globe surface that's curving at 8 inches per mile squared, or based on the black swan, 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet? Because as Chocolate said, and we've shared before, and as Brian has demonstrated many times, that if the maximum distance with a sextant is 5,400 nautical miles, then the diameter of that circle is 10,800 miles. All have to be this rectangular box. The argument's over just by the way the instrument works.
Yeah, astronomical rectangle or astronomical square, whichever way. There's no way around that.
Did you want to present
they
these
can
other?
say
Did you want to use these
they
other
can say
diagrams? 10th.
they can say refraction. You say fine, I'll give you all the refraction you want. You still need this over 5,400 nautical miles at the maximum sighting of one star. But someone on the other part of the circle is sighting the same star. That's 10,800 nautical miles. That's two astronomical rectangles butting up to each other.
Just for a little bit of clarity for the audience, they try and add in 7/6 via celestial refraction, right? But they don't call it terrestrial 7/6, or they try and add it in via celestial refraction and messing with the dip correction. But they can't, obviously, the dip won't fit their globe. So they know that. It will never fit their globe. So they got to still mess with it and add in celestial refraction. Now, I won't go into what they do, right, and how they do it, right, because it's going to be, I'd need a 35-minute long video, or no, me, 55-minute long. But what it does is it creates an inaccuracy at the end. And they then, at least, exactly. And they create an inaccuracy at the end. And they then got to correct for that inaccuracy. But all they're actually correcting for at the end with site reduction tables is all the rubbish that they inserted into it. They didn't insert that rubbish, there wouldn't be any need for corrections. If they didn't insert that rubbish, there would be no site reduction tables, because they wouldn't be necessary. They're only necessary because they add in a load of rubbish, trying to somehow make it some way relevant to the globe when it's not. And they must correct to a horizontal plane, to mean sea level being the horizontal plane, and remove that celestial refraction completely. And that gives them accuracy. So sea level is your horizontal, and there is no celestial refraction, and that gives you accuracy. Then what was the point of all this nonsense you had us adding in before? Pointless.
No, it's the point is to confuse people and to lie to them. That's the point. But on what Brian is saying, in the site reduction tables, it establishes true altitude. What is their version? Okay, their version. True altitude is the rational horizon, which is the equatorial plane, all flat, all 180. Okay, so on the surface of their so-called globe, you got to match that true altitude of 180. So Brian says, okay, in the site reduction tables, you got your eyeball on the sea surface, and there's no refraction. There's no need for height of eye correction, because you've matched the true altitude of your equatorial plane in their world of the way they want to explain it. Okay, so basically, that celestial rectangle, that astronomical rectangle that I just showed, you know what that bottom adjacent is? Flat 180. Thank you. All game
Yeah,
over. One picture.
Just 1 second, Ken. Yeah, but them placing that, when they see, no, it's not the equatorial plane. When they're using sea level, mean sea level as their adjacent, they're using the surface
Brian,
of
I
Earth.
already said that.
They then bring it down to the center, fair enough, but they got to use the surface of Earth as their horizontal. Just the sea level as the horizontal.
Brian, let's not confuse the audience. I already said that. There is no center of Earth. There is no equatorial plane. It is the flat plane you live on, but they've made it the equatorial plane because they got to get you in the middle of the globe burger.
No, you're missing the point. They can't use sea level as their adjacent and then refer to the center of their globe.
Again,
they're only referring to
I'm
sea
trying
level.
to make, fine, you're right. I'm trying to make it simple for the people here who are not going to get into the wrangle dangle, as Nathan says. You need a box. That box is on the surface of Earth. It's over.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Nice one, guys.
Just for clarification, when you're talking about the surface, do you mean the surface that's actually the surface, or the surface that's not the surface, like the Globers like to talk about, apparently?
No, it's the surface.
It's the surface
the
that we're measuring.
ground position. GP is ground position. So ground is surface. Yes, surface.
So the ground being the ground. Okay.
Ground being the ground, or the zenith 90 degrees that the star is over in the ocean right there, which is considered 180.
Yeah, but today you can identify as a globe.
I mean, forgive me for the clarification, but you know, we've heard numerous times that the ground that supposedly we're supposed to be proving that is spherical is not the ground that we're talking about, speaking from the Glober's perspective. So that's why I asked for the clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, Neil, it's worse than that. We got people identifying as the opposite sex now. This is how crazy it's been.
I was trying not to say it.
You can identify all you want. You can say celestial navigation proves the globe. I'll just pop up this picture from their own manuals and say, what is this showing? Oh, well, that looks like a rectangle. But you see the bottom line's kind of curved. I go, then why did they put 90 there? What's a 90? Can you show me 90 degrees curving? Well, 90 degrees in geometry doesn't curve. I go, so what is it? It's planar geometry, but they're lying to you and they're laughing at you because you're actually saying rectangle has a bottom line that curves. Is that what you're saying?
Because they think we live on a trans globe, a flat plane that identifies as a globe. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
That's really good fun there. That's a transatlantic flight. Yes, indeed.
Back to Chocolate's original question, right? Without the talk that we were just talking about, that I won't repeat. What they are happy to admit to is if you measure the ground flat and then put it through a conversion process that projects the angles from the sky down onto a globe surface, then you can call it the surface after conversion to a sphere. If you just take the flat measurement of the surface, then it's not the surface. That's their position.
That's utterly ridiculous.
Sounds quite batshit insane, if you ask me.
What you're saying is it's not the ground if it's flat. It's only the ground if it's a globe.
Any Globers in here want to tell us how the ground?
It's not even that. They need a flat Earth to get their globe, and you can't get an elevation angle without two straight lines meeting at a common point, a vertex. And when you use the horizon, that's the adjacent, and it's a right angle triangle. In all celestial navigation books, the sextant and all instruments that function like the sextant are using a right angle triangle. That's why it's 90 degrees. But they don't want to say it is. Shh.
Who's making that noise?
So is it the same thing? So is it the same thing in geodetics and geodesy? Like when they apply it to a reference ellipsoid?
Show them the rectangle. Just show them the rectangle. No matter what they say. If they say refraction, show them the rectangle. If they say globe Earth, show them the rectangle.
Hold on, second tenth. Guy from Discord, do you want to repeat your question?
I said, is it the same thing when they bring up geodetics and surveying and stuff like that? Like, is it the same kind of idea where they have to apply a globe to it? Like they take all their flat
afterwards.
After the fact, yes, subdued. 100% after the fact. It's their primary calculation. They measure plane triangles and then try to fit them on a presupposed ball.
Where all the globe is? I thought they were going to take this server over.
Globe Team 6?
That was last year. Last year they posted they're taking it over in 1 month. That was about a year ago.
That was about 8 years ago.
Quick shout out to some birdism. Can Brian (H) equals 50 feet times 0.3048 meters / feet equals 15.24 meters. Square root of 15.24 equals 3.904. D equals 1.76 times 3.904. My God, you're getting your value out of your super chat. Equals 6.87 minutes of arc. Almanac states 6.9.
Show them the rectangle. My gosh, let's make
Hold on.
it simple.
Hold on. I'm just going to unpack that as suggesting that these two match where you've said they don't. He's saying 6.87 is the calculated if you take 1.76 times the square root of the observed height in meters, as per the almanac, versus 1.2 times the square root of the observed height in feet, or whatever that converts to in meters. I'm not very good at maths. Don't hold it against me. He's saying they do match, I think, Brian.
No, what he's trying to say is that what he's trying to do, see, this is why he wasn't listening, right? What he's trying to do is match it, right, to a 7/6 hour globe, right? That's a radius of 4,618, right? An effective radius, 4,618.83 miles. What he's trying to do is match it to that. The 7/6 hour comes close to it, but it doesn't match it, as he just proves with 8.76 as opposed to 8.9, right? But what he didn't listen to, right, because he's obviously thinks he's clever, right, thinking that I'm so stupid that I wouldn't know about that. He should have listened earlier. Is the next correction they make is with site reduction tables, where mean sea level is treated as your horizontal and celestial refraction is completely removed. How could they remove the curve that he thinks that we live on and remove the celestial refraction completely and get the best accuracy? I wonder how that's possible, because that's the final correction they did. The final correction is not dip or celestial refraction. The final correction is site reduction, and it removes all that rubbish. So that means, like, not only does it not match his globe, because it doesn't. He's trying to claim it nearly matches a 7/6 hour globe. What the hell is that? Where did that come from? You need a globe to come up with that. He's basically stating the horizon is not the geometric edge of a globe Earth. So it's not a globe. That's basically what he's stating without realizing, number one. Number two, he's then, after either he just chose to ignore it or he didn't listen because he thought he was going to be smart. The final correction is site reduction, where mean sea level is treated as your horizontal, your adjacent. And that can be up to 5,400 nautical miles in length. That's over 6,213 statute miles. And all their celestial refraction nonsense is removed for best accuracy. How is that possible? How can we get best accuracy using mean sea level as a horizontal and removing celestial refraction? I tell you how. Because none of the other stuff is real. It's all added in to create a problem that is then fixed by flat Earth. Their globe problems are fixed by flat Earth. If they didn't add in their globe problems to begin with, they wouldn't need flat Earth to fix them.
No, if they didn't have the flat Earth to come up with the globe problems, they wouldn't have the flat Earth to fix the globe problems they came up with after having the flat Earth.
Yeah, Doc, that's better, actually. You're correct.
I
Good
knew as
man.
soon as you started reading that super chat, it was a wise ass.
Well, thank you for the super chat. Hope that answers your question. Brian extrapolated quite a lot out of those numbers.
Okay, this guy who did the super chat, thank you, Brian. That was brilliant, by the way. I'd like for him to now address the astronomical rectangle.
He's going to put it inside the globe.
Are you this guy, Neil? I was waiting for the long, silent pause. Let's see if it gets past Danny Faulkner's 47 seconds. All righty then.
It was a super chat. He didn't come on and declare it.
No, I'm just
Doesn't get-
saying.
You don't get the heart to come on.
No, Brian just tore them to shreds and poured salt on every globe-hurting wound this show causes every day.
I want to know if everybody's ready.
For what?
The paradigm has shifted. Candace, you got this one talking about it, that one talking about it. Give it another, I'd say within 5 years.
Okay. I mean, if Candice was talking about it, then the paradigm's definitely changed. I think I agree.
Not just her.
Let me give you an example of how powerful the argument is. And then when you get, like I said, when on these shows we get the diehard ballers, and you might want to go into the deep stuff. But let's say you're on the Joe Rogan podcast or one of these other ones, and you show the bedrock essential requirement for celestial navigation, astronomical rectangle with 490s. You just show that picture and say, this is a must. This is how it works. This is from their own manual. This is how it works. This is the elevation angle and the co-altitude together. Oh, wow. That looks like a rectangle. It says 90 at the bottom. Yeah, now let's talk about distances that can be measured by a sextant. Well, the most is 5,400 nautical miles, 90 times 60. But if someone's on the other side of the circle of equal altitude, and he's doing the same star at the same time, he's got 5,400 nautical miles. So, Joe Rogan, you got a rectangle box with 5,400 nautical miles, all flat. And then there's a guy on the other side doing the same star at the same time. He's got 5,400 nautical miles from that point of the outside circle to the radius line to the middle. So you got two radius lines going out, making a full diameter of that circle to be 10,800 nautical miles. Now, I know you believe the Earth is a globe, but if this is how they measure stars and their GPS, and so they can figure out where their longitude, latitude is based on wherever those stars and GPS are at a certain time, date, and all that, is that possible on the globe? And if he even starts to act like a baller like this guy did with Brian, everyone's going to see how stupid the person is. They're going to say, wait a minute, are you sure they use this astronomical rectangle? Yeah, I'm positive. Well, then it can't be a globe. Duh.
But that's what I'm saying. That is so, I mean, how can you not? I don't get it.
But you got to put them on the spot.
Rogan.
You got to put them on the spot. You got to make them deny geometric principles to be on the globe. And they will not deny geometric principles to be on the globe, because then people will say, you're stupid. 90 doesn't mean that.
Oh, they will. Oh, they will.
No, the ballers.
They'll curve radii, they'll curve triangles, they'll do all kinds of stuff.
The ballers will. But the people who listen, and when it hits their ears and their eyes see that picture, they're going to say, no, Joe, that doesn't match up.
And can you guys hear me?
Well,
Yes.
yeah.
I was just curious. You're talking about they, whoever they is. I just wanted to get your view on this. Why would whoever they is try to convince everyone that the Earth is a sphere instead of flat? Why wouldn't they do it the other way around?
Well, they and like that's
Why wouldn't they try to
that's,
convince us that the Earth is flat and try to hide the fact that it's a sphere? Why wouldn't they do it that way?
I don't know what people's motivations are. I can't. I don't know.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Why would they lie?
It seemed like to me it wouldn't matter what the shape is. I mean,
Well, when you go
why
back,
is the globe such
If it doesn't matter what the shape is, why would they teach you that it's a specific shape?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm wondering what you guys think.
About that?
Why they paint the globe instead of flat to hide?
Draw me a flat.
Did you hear my question?
No, someone else.
If you didn't think it mattered, why would you think that they would teach you that it's a specific shape?
No, I was wondering what you guys thought. Why they're trying to hide this or lie about it?
Why do people lie, bro?
I don't know. I was wondering what you thought. Why they picked this shape instead of something else?
I'm not here to determine the motivations of people who were lying before I even was born. You know what I mean? People
I was just wondering
lie,
what you
bro.
thought. That's all.
And I get you. That's why I started thinking, why would they lie? Why would they lie? Because we get that question a lot. A lot of times, that's the first question.
Well, let me ask this. Let me ask this gentleman a question. If it was found out that it was a lie, what are some of the implications that you can think of from the hearts and minds of people to the governments that perpetuated the lie? What are some of the implications if it was a lie?
Would have no clue. I can't think of any reason why they would go through the trouble.
That wasn't the question.
When you asked me about the implications, I wouldn't know what they would be. I don't know what it would imply.
Let me make it simpler for you. You go to buy a car from a car dealership. He tells you the engine's great, the odometer's exactly the right mileage, never been an accident. You find out later it was. What are the implications? What are you going to do?
Well, probably sue them.
Thank you very much. So there are implications, right, to lying things.
Well, yeah, if someone sold me a lemon, I would do something about it.
Well, good. The globe is a lemon.
Okay.
Well,
that's one way to look at it.
Yeah, no, do something about it. Show the picture of the rectangle and show how they need a flat earth to even come up with the globe.
I don't know. It seems like it'd be easier to tell the truth. You know, it seems like a lot of work to do it the other way.
People are very good at keeping secrets. Mate? Why do you think they've lied?
People aren't very good at keeping secrets. It's hard to get people to keep their mouths shut. That's what history teaches us anyway. That's one of the hardest things you can do.
This guy's a baller.
Hang on.
Isn't that funny
Who
that
killed John F. Kennedy then?
I'm sorry.
You just say people aren't good at keeping secrets. Who killed John F. Kennedy then? Sorry, John.
I don't know.
The Giacondas.
Yeah, but hang on. You don't know. The point is, it's a secret. Nobody knows. Well, somebody knows, but the
He wasn't alive back then. I don't know who killed him. Maybe his wife killed him. I don't know.
The only person who knows is JFK.
Whatever. The point is, you don't know. You said that they can't keep. Nobody. People aren't going to keep secrets. Well, I just disproved your claim.
No, but we do know he's dead. That's a fact. So I don't know who killed him.
Yeah, but it's not a secret that he's dead. It's a secret of who killed him.
Maybe not. I don't know if it's a secret or not.
I was going to say.
What's your point?
Do you kind of
hang on? How do you not know what's a secret when nobody knows who did it? Someone knows and they're not telling. So that means people are keeping secrets.
Well, not saying something and keeping something a secret are two different things.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
No, I said not saying something and keeping something a secret are two different things.
No, that's the same exact thing. You're keeping something a secret.
The exact same thing.
No, it's not. I didn't tell anyone on Discord what my home address is, but it's not a secret.
Well, then tell us.
Well, it is a secret to the people on Discord. It's not a secret to you and your family, but it's a secret to your friends or whatever, but it's a secret to people who aren't your family and friends.
Secrecy implies an attempt to hide something.
Oh, just get on with your globe-tard proof and get out of this incoherent, non-clever minutia. What is the scientific evidence for your globe-tard?
Well, you can go to the scientific consensus for that. That should answer all your questions.
Go through the what?
Consensus, he said.
I would
consensus.
I would
isn't
direct you to the
science.
Consensus.
Consensus
Yeah,
isn't
they should be able to clear it up for you.
Consensus is,
Any
I
questions
wasn't
you
done
have?
yet. Consensus isn't science. Science isn't consensus because consensus is subjective, whereas natural science and the scientific method purely deal with the objective. You're in a category error.
Okay, well, I'd love to see you tell the scientific community that.
Where's the scientific community now? Go tell them. Give me their email, address, phone number.
I don't know. Why don't you contact the people who issued Nobel Prizes? They can point you in the right direction.
Well, contact the people. You're in a complete category error. This is pure geometry, the shape of the earth. It has nothing to do with science. You just showed without a shadow of a doubt that you would fail 5th grade into intro to general science. Thanks.
Okay, contact a mathematician.
You know,
Maths is not science either.
Then what's the point of his speaking, Raiden?
I got a really simple question for you, bro. Like, I'm just trying to find, just trying
Hello,
to see
can
where
you hear me?
stand. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can. I was just making sure I could get heard. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The guy that was speaking before, I just have a very simple question. Is level curved?
Is that for me?
Yes, sir.
No.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to Flat Earth. Snack in the back.
Well, that's not really an
So if you put
argument.
a
Is it,
very
though?
small level on a massive object, it's going to show that it's level.
Exactly. Thank you.
Excuse me. Were you
Can you hold on? Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can I pose a question to a flat earther, please? Actually, can you explain?
Excuse me.
Can you
Hold on,
explain
guy,
any?
Guy, stop. Asking permission, then immediately starting. That's not going to do you any favors. Let's get some order.
excuse
Has
me,
that conversation?
it's
Hold
not-
on. Can you hear me talking? Has that conversation been concluded? If so, yes, you can ask a question. If not, did you want to conclude it?
Can I talk now?
No.
Raiden? Is that conversation finished? Can we move on?
I had to mute my microphone.
Well, I'm happy. Yeah, I just got concession that level is not curved, so I'm okay with it. We can move on.
Cool. Yes, what was your question?
All right. So we will move on to Generate 4.
So I just have a question for literally any flat earther. Is like I'm okay with anyone answering this. Is can you explain how literally any flight works on your purported maps at all? How any flight works at all? Any single one?
Okay, hold on. Hold on. I'm going to pass that to Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
Are you talking about the flight route, or are you talking about how the plane flies?
The route in terms of like particularly in the lower hemisphere, like flights from like Australia to.
I can't verify anything with the routes because they're private companies, so I can't verify anything of what they're doing, how they're doing anything because I can't get.
No, flights are public information. Flights are public.
Hold on, Brian. Stop a second. Brian. Guy. You're going to just have to let him get to the end of his answer. Try again, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I could take it to how the plane flies with less effect, or I can go into something I was going to bring up earlier, which is how they calculate the distances. You probably think that they use what's known as great circle distances, don't you?
They use what? Sorry.
You probably think that they use what's known as great circle distances, don't you?
No, I wasn't. I don't know how they calculate distances. No, but it wasn't what I was referring to when I said
Well, why are you
fly. I
asking us then to explain something that
I specifically said the flight patterns in terms of the actual
Hold on, I've got
direction
two
they
people
fly.
talking again. Brian, you're not helping this time. He wants to reiterate his point. Let him.
Right. I was talking about specifically the paths they take. The distance doesn't matter. The way that it actually takes off or lands. None of that is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about specifically the paths they take, because on your guys' flat Earth model, they take absurd long arcs over the planet that make absolutely no sense, even on your model.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What
I don't
model
have a
is that?
model, number one. Number two, planes don't do that. Planes don't fly arcs. You completely don't understand how planes fly.
No,
I can't verify anything. I can't tell you anything about the route because I'm not part of private aviation companies. So I can't show you anything to do with anything like that. So you need to
the
go
routes
to
are public
Qantas or
knowledge.
whoever
The
to
routes are
find out that
public
information.
knowledge.
You're talking straight through the top of him.
He's finished his point. He said he
That,
can't
take it
access
up
it.
with him.
He
No,
can't.
stop talking, both of you. No, that wasn't an invitation to carry on. It was my invitation to offer your rebuttal when he's finished talking, not in the middle of it. You're saying they're publicly available? Yeah, he's still talking, though. Give it after he's finished.
That's incorrect. All the details of the flight, the plane, all this stuff, that's not publicly available. That's incorrect.
Wow. So just when he's talking, right? He says, no, they're not. It was your positive claim that they're publicly available. Now we've got a protracted silence.
Am I allowed to reply now?
In a protracted silence, everyone else be quiet.
Right, okay, so your claim that it's not public information is just not true. I'm literally looking at flightradar24.com.
Stop. Your claim that it's not, no. You have a positive claim that it is publicly available. Not him and his claim that it isn't.
Yeah, I'm showing him that they are publicly available right now. Like, you could literally go to...
Brian, you're not talking to him. Stop, Brian, please.
Right,
okay, stop. Okay, if you're saying they are, do you want to post what you've got in the Discord server and we'll have a look at it?
Yeah, I will right now. This isn't any specific flight light. I'm just pointing out that they are in fact publicly available on multiple different websites. But there you are. There's one example of it.
I'll drop that for you guys in 1 second.
You posted flight radar, yes?
That is one example of a website that shows flights.
So can you verify every single part of every one of those flights? Can you verify that they're definitely taking the routes they're taking?
In theory, yes.
There's no
In
modification
theory, yes.
to planes. Excuse me, I'm speaking. Can you verify there's no modification to planes? There's no specific training for certain pilots to fly certain routes? You can't do any of those things. I know about flight radar. I know those stupid things exist. But verifying it is the problem. You can't verify it. I can't verify it. We're not part of the aviation industry. But what I can verify is how the plane flies.
Okay, so can I? Okay, I'm going to reply now. So the thing is, right, bro, is that let's say you're right. Okay, let's say I have no way of verifying any of that information. I disagree with that, but for the sake of argument, let's say you're right. I have no way of verifying that at all. Do you think what's more likely, right, that I'm right and that it's just showing the planes and we can verify all that, or that out of the tens of thousands of people in the aviation industry, not a single person has come forward and said they're faking this?
Stop. It's called an argument from silence fallacy.
Yeah. Now,
it's just not, bro.
Earlier on, I brought up great circle distances. What you're seeing on flight radar are great circle routes. But in reality, they don't fly great circle distances. They fly run line distances, which are greater distances. And you can't verify any of the route. You can't verify whether the plane has been modified. You can't verify whether they're stopping for fuel. You can't verify whether the pilot has had specific training.
Because I can't look up. It's not possible.
You can't actually verify any of those things because it's all behind the closed wall of a private company. You can't do that.
I can't look up at this guy. They're not in the sky at all.
You're
I can't
talking
look
straight
up.
through him. It should malfunction.
Yeah, because he thinks. See, this is the problem. He thinks that he's got a win, yet he doesn't understand the difference between great circle distances and run line distances. He doesn't understand private companies, and he doesn't understand how a plane flies. It doesn't matter to me.
You can't understand basic science, but I can't understand.
Modifications. One second. It doesn't matter to me what modifications the plane has or doesn't have, or if the pilot has special training or not. Means nothing, because that plane can't fly without the lift effect. And for a plane to generate adequate lift to account for 100% of the weight of that plane and all the passengers and everything else on board, all the luggage, then the pilot must hold a constant above horizontal pitch, and that allows the plane to fly horizontally. So who cares about the route, because they're only flying horizontal at cruising altitude.
There you go. How could planes fly on a globe tart without negotiating the curvature beneath it? Sunshine.
Exactly.
Now we're on topic.
The fact you're making that argument shows me that you don't understand what the horizon actually is. You don't actually understand the curvature of the Earth. You're trying so desperately to disprove.
He doesn't understand how planes fly or the instrumentation.
Explain lift to me. Define lift. Explain lift to me right now.
Lift the
exactly.
weight.
So you can show. Exactly, bro. You don't actually understand. You're just throwing words
Hold
out
up,
there.
degenerate. Hold up,
Stop
degenerate.
overspeaking, please.
Hang on. Are you saying that a pilot doesn't need to hold an above horizontal pitch to generate enough lift to account for the weight of the plane?
I never made any claims on how planes fly. You're the one that has made those claims.
Are you saying I'm wrong when I say that? Sorry. Are you claiming I'm wrong when I say that?
When you say what? Can you repeat it, please?
Are you saying that I'm wrong to say that a pilot must hold an above horizontal pitch to generate adequate lift to account for the full weight of the plane? Are you saying I'm wrong?
No, but that wasn't my question.
So I'm not wrong then. So I'm right. Would you agree that I'm right then?
On that very specific thing that you're nitpicking to try and claim that you're right on the rest of your argument, yes.
The plane is only ever flying a horizontal. Because the fly around the globe...
You pick one specific...
he's making his summary.
The fly around the globe, from the moment that pilot gets to cruising altitude, at that exact moment, they can only be exactly horizontal. They can't even have an above horizontal pitch. They then, from second to second to second, must have an accumulated below horizontal pitch after that to fly around the globe. So if a plane was flying around the globe, it would need to have a consistent below horizontal pitch, not a consistent above horizontal pitch like they actually have. They fly horizontal distances. They fly horizontally because they can't fly any other way. Lift effect makes it impossible. Ask Wolfie.
I'm sorry, is there anything that I actually need to reply with there? Where you're just like, come on, bro, we're waffling about conspiracy theories. It's been disproven a million times.
Hang on, degenerate. And just come on and waffle on, but I actually heard you make a claim that none of us understand what the horizon actually is. So maybe you can support that and you can explain to us what the horizon is.
I'd like to hear more of what he has to say.
Okay, I will do it. If you want me to do that, I'll do that. Okay.
Hang on a second, degenerate. Sorry, Brian, go again.
Sorry, I'd like to hear more. Has he agreed? Is he in full agreement that planes fly horizontally because they can't fly any other way? Is he in full agreement with that?
No, and he just left the room. He wasn't going to answer that. He just wanted to waffle on. So I wanted to try and hold him to his horizon point.
Brian.
Neil, can you hear?
Hang on, he's back. All right.
I'll ask him again because he left the room to make it seem like he didn't hear. So do you agree that planes only fly horizontally now at cruising altitude, considering the lift effect?
Nope, he's gone again.
Yeah, because every time he's getting asked that, he's going to leave because he doesn't want to ask that question. That's about it. I don't think he should.
No, that's fine. Hello.
I don't think he should. 1 second. I'm just saying, I don't think if someone's going to be that dishonest, I don't think they deserve a third chance.
Rather than focus on his dishonesty and the opponent, you can make your summary now.
Yeah. Airplanes, for a pilot, what happens with airplanes? Pilots must generate enough lift to account for the weight. Now, to account for 100% of the weight, then the pilot must generate 100% positive lift, right? So the pilot must hold an above horizontal pitch at all times. The pilot can hold an altitude flying horizontally and change the pitch as long as he or she also changes their thrust. So more thrust equals more lift, less thrust equals less lift. So if they want to go faster, they'll dip the nose down to about 2 degrees above horizontal. If they want to go slower, they'll bring it up to about 5 degrees above horizontal. The average is about 3 to 4 degrees above horizontal for all commercial airlines and all planes at cruising altitude. Well, some of the smaller planes, because they go a bit slower, some of them will have a higher pitch like a Cessna or something like that. But for all commercial airliners, you're talking 3 to 4 degrees or 3 to 5 degrees pitch above horizontal. That's the only way they can account for the weight of the plane. And that allows them to fly horizontally. Airplanes cannot fly around the globe because as soon as they start pitching anywhere below horizontal, they're instantly losing lift. So if you're trying to have a below horizontal pitch, especially an accumulated one like you would need to fly over a convex surface of radius 3959 miles, then you're going to consistently lose lift. What's going to actually happen is you're going to actually fall out of the sky because you lose all lift. Because it doesn't matter what wing you use, cambered wing, anything, you're still losing lift. Cambered wing only, in case anyone wants to bring that up, that only slows down the process. It won't stop it. You will eventually crash into the ground because you won't be able to generate lift. The only way to generate lift is to hold an above horizontal pitch. And on a globe, that is a consistent increase in altitude. Now, do we observe that or experience that? Does any pilot experience that in reality? No, they don't. They fly horizontally, keeping above horizontal pitch, holding an altitude over a flat plane. That's how they fly. So who cares about Qantas or anything else or any other special routes they have? I don't care. It means nothing. Because how the plane flies is how the plane flies. And it can't fly over a globe. It can only fly over a flat plane. Thanks,
Brian's Logic, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe today.
Nathan.
Yes.
Hasn't this guy ever stuck his hand out of the window of the car and basically prove what Brian just said?
Today. He disappeared when Brian tried to hold him to task on the argument that Brian had that proved Earth was being navigated and negotiated flat by aeroplanes.
Well, I think enough listeners have put their arm out and leveled their palm as the car is speeding up to see what happens if you go a little lift on an angle, what happens. And then if they dip a low down, that you're going downwards because the speed of the car and the wind hitting your hand simulates the Bernoulli effect. And Brian was spot on. And this guy could go he doesn't even have an airplane. He can just do that.
That's 2 weeks in a row Brian laid it down.
Yeah, Brian's ace.
Can Brian, I got a question for Brian.
Yeah.
Define summary.
You bastard. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Stream, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
Almost everybody's gone on a plane. And the way Brian explains it, I mean, it's obvious.
I don't know, Neil. I talked to a person who was flying to Hawaii back, but they flew from Hawaii. That's when I met them in California. And they said, no, I just flew from Hawaii and the Earth is curved. And I go, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, but once she gets all the information, like if that same woman was sitting right next to Brian on the plane and he started laying it down, she wouldn't be seeing curvature anymore.
I gave her the same information.
Oh, you did?
Well, that's the point. That's the
Oh,
point.
well,
But
then she's a globetrot. She's never going to change.
yeah, well, that's the point.
I told you what the one guy did. He put like a toy plane on the big hand of a clock, and he spun the thing around. He said, "See, it's still flying level."
I tried telling him airplanes fly from airport to airport, and he didn't like that.
Well, look, I'm not flying with his guy, that's for sure.
He didn't like it when I said ask Wolfie. That's what he didn't like. Because Wolfie.
I'm sorry. I just want to
He's
say
just
that
spazzing out in the chat. He's just spazzing out in the chat. Yeah, I've invited him back, and I apologised and said, I came in to move the conversation on, but obviously you guys haven't finished. But he's just going to keep spazzing in the chat, I think.
Well, someone call 911. Give him some medicine. We don't want him to spaz out.
Yeah, well, when you can't with documents.
Just wanted to say how hilarious it was that what I think that was Radwin before. He pointed out he told him planes fly from airport to airport, and he got mad about that. Like that.
Yes,
that's what happens.
correct.
That's where they fly. I worked at an airport for 10 years. Like that they fly from airport to airport. Why would you be mad about that? That's insanity.
They don't go from airport to train station.
Oh yeah, those planes. Yeah.
Hey, Chocolate. When they left the airport that you were working at for 10 years, did you ever see him fly backwards?
No, sir.
Doesn't QE have a scenario where a plane is flying backwards?
Kicking off and flying backwards. Yeah, Chocolate used to witness that all the time at JFK.
The Globers that are hiding in this channel are still here, and they're not going to say a word today, I don't think. I think today they're afraid. Well, they know what's going to happen once Nathan leaves. They speak up and talk about anything that was brought up in the show, and they were there the whole time, getting 2 days off.
Oh, so it's like when you turn the lights off, all the roaches come out?
Yeah. We've got Stephen P. We've got Rich Evans. Who else we got?
Lamb of Not God thinks that he's a pilot and he doesn't understand how to fly from airport to airport. He keeps asking us how to do it.
Listen, they're all pilots. In my first 3 months into this in 2015, I must have had 8 different people tell me they were astronauts on YouTube.
And everybody's
all
a
engineers
pilot.
and pilots and scientists and everything else. They've all, every time anything comes up, last week I just did that. I just took that flight last week, or I was just on a building last week where they were accounting for this big engineering project and they're accounting for curvature. It's always that. And they're just nobodies.
Funny, none of them were celestial navigators back then. All of a sudden, we got celestial navigators everywhere.
They're all professional
Exactly.
celestial navigators now.
Moment of silence for the globe.
So we needed a soundboard, QE.
No, that's what you call cleaning house.
Isn't it a common occurrence that all they have to do is prove the globe, and then instead of that, because they run into these great arguments, they say, why would they lie? Well, hang on, before we go to that, did we just effectively destroy the globe with geometry and good arguments? No. Why would they lie?
Even before that, before why would they lie? Let's establish: did they lie? Are they lying?
But doesn't the question why would they lie imply?
Once we establish that, what do we care why they do it? People do crazy shit all the time.
Doesn't the why imply that they already have those? So like as soon as they say why would they lie, it's like so we agree that they lied then, yeah?
That's why I used the lemon car. That's why I used the lemon car that was sold at the car lot. What would the implications be? He says, "Oh, I'd sue the guy." Okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So the whole point is,
it's like I would sue
that was a baller, right?
Yeah, that was a baller, right? That helped out a lot.
Yeah, he was
well,
a baller.
I lost connection. That's why I don't know what happened. So I would like to find out what happened.
He was a baller. He was a baller, and he didn't like absolutes. So he kept playing around in this neutral area until a hard example of being sold a lemon of a car. What would the implications be? Then he liked the absolutes by saying, I'd sue the guy.
Yeah, and also, the inverse question has to be asked as well. Why would they bother telling the truth when this lot believe them anyway? Like they didn't even need any evidence to believe them. So why even bother telling the truth?
It's just weird for them to be so quiet.
It is actually very strange, very peaceful.
Yeah,
there's a guy.
Crazy.
There's a guy in here that thinks. Sorry, AJ, but there's a guy in here that there's a guy here that believes the celestial sphere debunks our flat Earth position because it has to be antipolar to each other.
Yeah, does he understand what the creation of the celestial dome is? It's not a sphere, it's a celestial dome. He doesn't understand how that's created. It's mathematical only.
Does it have physical existence?
Yeah.
Where is it?
He's not going to pipe up, so I'm not going to call him out. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but listen, it's just it's up to you. But just an advice: if someone's not going to pipe up, then leave them off. Leave them just chat skank. They don't deserve your attention if they're not going to pipe up. Why should you bring his question to us or to anyone else when that person decides not to come in themselves? I understand sometimes maybe the people are working, they can't do it, whatever. But you know that's not the case today.
That being said, Brian, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, walk away.
Can I get your understanding or your stance on the AE map?
The AE map? Well, I don't know the full layout of the world, but I know that at least south of the equator, the AE map has the land masses stretched out. That's what I could tell you about the AE map. Like Gleason's map, all the same. South of the equator, all the land masses are stretched out, as is proven by Australia, South Africa, South America. They're all stretched. You look at New Zealand on the Gleason's map, which is an AE map. Look at it; it's all stretched. It's not that big, so it's not correct. There's no correct world map. There's no one correct world map. Every world map is flawed.
When are we going to get the Brian map?
When I get around to it.
Thank you for that.
No worries.
Neil, how is Brian going to make a map of the Earth?
I don't know. I remember him saying something that he might decide to put one together.
Well, I already have what would be almost considered probably the most correct world map in existence on my channel. But that doesn't mean it's correct. Most correct in comparison to what? I can't verify all these things.
Yeah. That's like Obama when he says, "I saved or created 5,000 jobs." So any job that wasn't lost, he could take credit for, and any job that was made, he could take credit for.
Yep.
Or my personal favorite was we're putting out this package. They said we're putting out a package of aid, and every family could get up to $10,000. I'm like, yeah, well, $1 is up to $10,000.
Forget about him. What about Kaiser Jose? I watched a video with him yesterday. I was cracking up. He introduced Zelensky as freaking Putin.
Yeah, that was funny. I saw it live. I couldn't
Oh, my
believe he
goodness.
did that.
Don't forget Vice President Trump. Don't forget Vice President Trump.
Yeah, he said that too, Vice President Trump.
Oh, yeah, that too. That was funny.
So Neil,
He was actually meaning about the.
So Neil, was he putting his foot in his mouth when he said that?
I knew a punt was coming.
What's funny to me is the people who try to act like this just something that just popped off like 2 weeks ago. Like, what, bro? You ain't know this guy can't finish sentences for like 5 years? You guys
Yeah,
are right?
but Chocolate, come on. You're sitting right next to the freaking guy. Your enemy is Putin, and you introduce him as Putin. Did you see their faces?
Yeah, he really put his competition's head in a vice with that one.
Yeah, sorry, Chocolate, just to let you know you're not black because you didn't vote Democrats.
Yeah, that's not chocolate. That's Eli.
Black?
That's not chocolate. That's Eli.
Eli. Right,
Eli's black?
We all took it out with flat Earth discussions.
Don't worry, it'll fire up when you leave.
Well, you know what? Why does someone ask, why would they lie? What is the mentality behind that question?
An appeal to motivation
The mentality.
policy.
Well,
So that a bunch of flat earthers can come up with a song called "Why Would They Lie."
No, but it's a deeper meaning.
No. Yeah, it's that. If I ask the question, why would they lie, and you can't give me a comprehensive answer, that means that I can just ignore any evidence you're going to present to me.
Yeah, it's an appeal
You know
to
what I mean?
motivation policy.
It's a hand wave before anything is presented.
Yeah, if I can't give you to what I consider may be a viable answer, then whatever lie you're speaking about goes out the window. Simple as that, right?
Chocolate, don't we have a perfect example just in the last conversation topic here? I remember all the newscasters saying, "Oh, Biden's competent. He's a good health." You know, they're watching him fall down the steps, making gaffes for months, years. Right? I'm in the middle, please. All of a sudden, because of this obvious debate debacle, they're all calling for him to resign. So let me ask you something. They knew it before. Why would they lie?
I don't know. Maybe we should ask the Glober that asked us why would they lie. Maybe we should ask him what he thinks about that.
Well, that's what I usually do. I usually ask them, why do they lie when they tell a lie? Or why did they lie the last time they lied? And it's like they get a smack in the face. They just stop dead. And they don't want to answer the question.
I got a better question. Why wouldn't they just hide it as a flat Earth?
It sure was a better question. I only got 3 words for you. Buy American.
America. Right, on that patriotic note, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.